RSL Nation, welcome to the RSL Bros.
Welcome back.
There's the bro, and he's not a bro, but you're gonna get to know him in just a little bit.
We're,
Um,
we're, we're we're adopting him today as a bro.
Today he is a
Well,
bro.
yeah, I still quiet a little bit. Just try yourself.
Excellent. So, Marcos, let's just start off. How are you doing? How was the weekend for you?
It was a good weekend. We saw each other yesterday. Hung
Yes, we
out
did.
hung out with your kids.
Mhm.
They destroyed mom and dad's house
Yep,
almost.
just a little.
So always fun hanging out with you and the kids.
Yeah,
How
Facu,
how how was your weekend?
Facu, how was your weekend?
Well, actually, really intense because I'm studying and this is the exam part of the year, so I'm really busy
Ooh.
and covering all the entire league and the rest of the transfer market is extremely hard. So
Yeah,
it was busy.
and we're gonna get into that because you cover a lot. But before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about my weekend. My weekend consisted of we went to a little kid's birthday party. It was a, a birthday party for a 5-year-old, and it was just a bunch of kids running around getting wet. After the kids got played and they got tired, then we played volleyball, the adults. And let me tell you, Sunday my shoulder was sore. I felt old. but but
No,
it,
not
it-
not all at
yeah,
all. But
don't get old. Don't get old. It's not good.
no.
No.
That's inevitable. But I used to play volleyball.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
big fan of soccer, but I used to play volleyball a little
Ooh.
bit.
I would play, but I'm too short. Alan and I both were born from short parents.
No. See,
No,
you're
I'm
shorter than
short
me.
too. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know that, but that's
I think I'm 174 centimeters tall,
well,
and
I
Marcos is 169, 168.
Yeah.
I am between you two because I am 176, 77.
Okay, right around there. So we're around the same height.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Excellent. So RSL Nation, as you can see, Facundo is joining us today. Facundo, let me give you what I know about Facundo, and it'll probably be as much as you guys know about Facundo. I know that he is from Argentina. I know that he loves soccer, covers a lot of it, and he has a lot of information tactically, statistically. Um, his head is full of it. Now, English is his second language, but he'll be able to explain a lot of things to us. But first, we want to get to know him. So we're going to go through a couple of questions, and Facundo, you just give us some answers, and we'll just roll with it.
Basically, all you have just said is right because basically I live for soccer and specifically for MLS and Premier League. My fiance used to get a little bit upset because of that, but that's life.
Yep, that's live. So, Marcos, go ahead and let's start with the couple of questions here, and we're going to get this conversation going.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start off. Facundo, what is it about the MLS that you like?
Well, first of all, the continual progress that we can see in the league since was a child with David Beckham arriving of the league, that was the boom of
Yeah.
that. We constantly see that it keeps improving and improving with different kind of sport, both sport and off the pitch, because
Hmm.
there are a lot of programs that improve and incentivize, I think I say it
Hmm.
correctly,
Hmm.
the to the child to keep playing that sport that, for what I understand, is not easy there in the United States, and that's good.
No.
And so
That
when you started watching more of the MLS because of David Beckham or people like that, like Henri probably, um, what is it something that you wanted to keep watching when you were younger, the MLS, or was it you just wanted to watch one player play?
No, first it started for both David Beckham and for the FIFA game, the PlayStation, because well, I was really young and used to play, and all the kids. Well, there are a lot of merchandising on the league. Is something that Gignac said a couple of days ago,
Mhm.
and in that moment it was true. But that curiosity started being every time, every day more intense. So I started uh, keeping an eye on every team, every player, the local names, because there is not just David Beckham, Kaká, Frank Lampard. There are a lot of names like Erwin Alda who
Yeah.
made the Major League Soccer. So
Yeah.
it's,
Did,
it's, it's
when
that.
you first started watching MLS with David Beckham and all the big stars, did you think it was going to get big to how it is now? Obviously, now we have Messi in the MLS and we have Busquets. Did you think it was going to get this big?
No, actually, no, because at least I assume that we are going to talk about that. But here in Argentina, to see the MLS and understand or read or even look for information from the local news is really difficult. Their journalists are not prepared or don't even care about that. So I didn't even imagine that MLS and the USMT will improve in the way that it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And so going with that same time when you were younger, um, as you can see, I'm a fan of River Plate. And so there was a couple of players, Argentine players, around that time of David Beckham that were very famous with the national team or very famous in Argentina, and they came to play in the MLS. For instance, Esqueloto, Gallardo, um, oh, who else? Christian Gomez.
Mhm.
Who was your
Well,
favorite?
Eduardo Dominguez played with David Beckham just one match, but here in Argentina, he's really famous. He's a lot.
al- Also,
Was a really good defender.
who was your favorite Argentine to watch in the MLS up until now?
Well, at the beginning of my experience with MLS, it was Guillermo Barros Esqueloto because part of my family is a Boca Juniors fan. My good father, who tried to make me a Boca fan, but he couldn't, even when I went to La Bombonera a couple of times. But well, Guillermo Barros Esqueloto, with being MLS MVP and leading Columbus Crew to the title, so I will say him.
Excellent.
He
Yeah.
was the first one. So
Well,
with
and I didn't know as because before I lived in Argentina, I wasn't a real fan of River Plate until I came back. And that's when I found out that Gallardo went and played for DC United. I didn't know that I went to the Real Salt Lake game when Gallardo came to play here. So I can say that I've seen Gallardo play. So I'm really I'm proud of that moment.
I didn't
Yeah.
even realize him for
No, I didn't
never.
realize it because well, one, I was I didn't understand how big Gallardo was even before when he used to play for the national team and how big he was for River, uh, PSG, for Monaco. I didn't realize how big he was until afterwards. But now I'm really proud of that moment.
Yeah.
Uh, Truly, his career as a manager is, and in my opinion, is a lot better than his playing career. But well, what he
Absolutely,
has done managing River Plate is historic, and I'm
absolutely.
not a River fan.
That's fine. I forgive you.
Hmm.
So Facundo, in your years of watching the MLS, is there a certain team from a certain year from their playing style that has caught your eye, whether it's been David Beckham's team with Galaxy, Real Salt Lake with them winning the MLS Cup? Is there a team from a year that you think that was the best team?
Actually, yes. It might sound not partial because, well, I'm a huge Atlanta United fan. Joseph Martinez is my biggest idol from these years. Even I have his autograph right there. But that team with Gerardo Martino, with the Tata,
Mhm.
was really good, tactically speaking.
Uh-huh.
And with Leandro Gonzalez Pires in the back, Miguel Almiron, who, well, now until Thiago Almada is being sold, he is one of the, not one, no, is the best sales on the league. And
Yeah.
that team I really think that was one of the best of the last years.
And
Yeah.
so, speaking of Almada, um, with Almada coming to the MLS, he was good with Vélez, but he has improved with Atlanta. Is it because of Atlanta that he has improved, or is it because of his time with the national team that he has improved?
Well, actually, I think that is because of the national team and his own qualities. Now he's an outstanding player, and his time in Atlanta as a collective team is not good. Atlanta right now is really Almada and Giacomakis dependent. When they are not on the pitch, we can see that. So I don't think that Gonzalo Pineda is responsible for that. I think it's on his own for some of his teammates, I can imagine, and of course, being in the national team is a crucial factor in that.
And so, what does it feel like as an Argentine? And me and Marcos can be a half Argentines in this sense. How does it feel like having so many big names from Argentina having come to the MLS? So, like we just mentioned, Almada. We had Barco went through
Mhm.
Atlanta.
That's right.
You have Gustavo Bo that's in the league right now.
Javier
Copet,
Diego
Morales.
Valeri, Diego Valeri was
Valeri.
even he was a MLS MVP too.
Yep, yeah. Right now you have Copetti that just came from La Liga, and he came to play
Yes,
for
from Racing to Charlotte.
even names like Eduardo Codet.
Yes, he
He even
has
played.
a really short pass with the Union, so he plays just 9 matches with the Union.
So
But well, there are a lot of Argentinians.
hearing all these Argentine names and hearing where they are now, what does that make you feel as an Argentine? Does it validate that Argentina may be the best soccer country in South America?
Yes, of course, we are the best team, the best country in South America by producing players. But we must talk about Brazil. We have now in MLS there is Thales Magno and Gabriel Pereira, both in New York City, who are really good players.
Mhm.
But as in general terms, speaking of technical understanding tactically and playing collectively, I think the Argentinian and the Uruguayan are both the best in South America for this time to being in MLS.
Now, when it comes to tracking and following MLS teams in Argentina, would you say people understand what's going on in the MLS down there?
No, 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 no.
No.
Here in Argentina, MLS is something that is not really good considered. There's a lot of misinformation, and people doesn't get how it works and even why it works in the way it does. So now with Messi, I hope that changes.
And that was going to be my follow-up question. That because Messi is in the league, you think that there will be more following in Argentina? There will be more people watching the MLS?
I don't know if MLS in general, I'm sure that Inter Miami will have a lot of views from here, but that's something that can be bad because Inter Miami has lost the last 7 matches.
Mhm.
And if an average Argentinian looks that, will say, well, Major League Soccer is like a retirement league. They call it soccer and all that. For example, my brother says all that. So I hope that with Messi coming to MLS, Busquets will follow him and hopefully Jordi Alba too. I don't
Mhm.
I don't get that signing because Franco Negri, other Argentinian, is there. I hope that people will get to understand the improvement and the difference that there has been in the last years.
Yeah, it's really tough when you have a Inter Miami team that is not performing well at all, and then you bring on a superstar like Messi. People are gonna tune in, and they could be watching a Miami team that just loses all the time. So they may watch because of Messi, but they won't watch. For me, they won't watch very much because the team that Messi plays for loses all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly. For
And
example, I think that sorry, Marcos, I interrupt you, but
No, no.
I think that the average Argentina will not look for a Real Salt Lake versus Colorado match on a Saturday night uh, if Messi is not involved in that match.
yeah, exactly to your point. And I believe that with Messi coming, we kind of touched it on a couple episodes ago, but I think he'll obviously bring more money for the league and also having more viewership in Argentina, in Europe, in France, in Spain, and all those things. But it'll be difficult because obviously all the only way to watch them is through Apple TV here in the US.
Well, here in Argentina too, I pay for MLS season pass. I'm
Hmm.
really happy with that because Apple offers a lot of content, not just for watching the matches. If you want to know about the stars that pass across the years on the league, Carlos Valderrama, well, I can start
Yeah,
saying names like
there's
for
so
hours.
many.
But yes, I want to say a similar case to Messi coming to MLS that it was in the nearly nearly this century with Lothar Matthaus coming to MetroStars. Uh, nowadays is Red Bull, but the year before the Sherman coming to MLS, they were the last on the league. They lost 75 or 77 games, and I wanna see some similarities with this case because well, Inter Miami has a lot of better players. They have a really good academy. For example, Benjamin Cremachi, David Ruiz, Edison Ascona. So Messi coming to that team, if Gerardo Martino takes the lead, I think that they can be a contender for maybe the ninth spot for now that
Maybe.
they
But
Maybe.
this leads into my next question. MLS is a very young league compared to the rest of the world, compared to League One, Bundesliga, Premier League. What does MLS need to do to be compared to everybody else so they're not still bottom?
I think that there are two factors there. First of all, well, there is this debate, the pro relegation. In my opinion, it has to be that in for making the league more competitive. Gareth Bale said that a couple of days ago that
Hmm.
here there is more allowed to lose. You can lose, and in Spain you can't.
Exactly.
It's not like that because well, Gareth Bale went to LAFC who won all the matches,
Hmm.
but something is right in what he's saying. And the second thing is the factor of the DP spot, having just three D spots in a market like Arabia, trying to compete to be competitive against Arabia, who is buying all the players available on the market because they don't have fair play, they don't have rules. Well, that's something that can be like a stink on the wheel for MLS.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to say, just the last thing, I have to say that it's working because
Hmm.
with that regulation, well, all the franchises and all the teams are allowed to have a better economy
Hmm.
compared to, for example, what happened to China a couple of years ago when they started to buy players like Hulk, Drogba, Nicolas Anelka, Carlos Tevez, and Oscar, and the numbers weren't there and the league ended started to fall apart. So I think that it can be seen both ways, but
Mm.
there must be a new rule or maybe an exception for
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
keep improving.
absolutely.
that's true.
Absolutely. So going back to what you were saying about Inter Miami, I wanted to throw in a little bit of a Real Salt Lake fact in there. You probably already knew this. Javi Morales is the director, I think,
Yes,
director of
It,
the
the intern
academy.
head coach. Yes,
Yeah.
interim head coach.
And
yes,
so
yes.
I think going back to the Argentine factor, if you are taught by an Argentine, you will have success. Period. That's my theory. What do you think?
Yes, you are speaking about as a player or
As
as a head coach.
as so as part of the academy, if you're taught by an Argentine, you are bound to have success.
Yes, yes, I completely agree with that. The Argentinian is not something. Well, one of my I will say this speaking about other thing. One of my uh, colleagues on the university is French, and he came here to study that career. I'm studying for being a technical director, head coach, and he came here because he says specifically that if you are taught by an Argentinian or you have learned here in terms of technical ability and tactical ability, you will be success. And yes, that's a really good point.
I mean, because if you think about it, the number of head coaches in South America for the national teams that are from Argentina, I think almost every country, except for maybe one or two, three, don't have Argentine head coaches. Everyone
Yes,
is looking for an Argentine head coach.
yes. Well, okay, we had Peckerman in Venezuela. Well, he also were with Colombia, if I'm not wrong.
Hmm.
Uh, who else? Well, there's a lot of names.
Yeah,
But
Tigre in Peru,
ah, yes, yes, El Tigre Gareca.
and then
I was
you
forgetting
also
about that one.
yeah, Sampaoli, which some of us have different opinions of him, but he's also a head coach.
Yes, yeah, he was successful with Chile, Bielsa too. Well,
Uh-huh.
if there is divided opinions about Sampaoli with Bielsa, we can be speaking of all day. But
Well, now
Bielsa is
look at Bielsa. Now he's with Uruguay.
yes, yes. Yes. Well, he replaced Diego Alonso, has who had his pass for Inter Miami too.
All just we're just
Yes,
recycling
it's all a
people.
circle.
It's just all
Yes,
big circle.
but I would say we because I feel like a fan from the U.S. men national team, but we keep having Greg Berhalter, so that's I can't understand that.
That's another discussion for
Well,
another day.
yeah, we'll have to have you back, Facu, when we talk about that because that's a whoa.
I,
That's a
I well, I can't
Uh,
understand that.
yeah. Now that
I'm a
you're
big
aware,
fan from Jesse Marsh, so I will call him.
I do respect Jesse Marsh for what he did for Leeds, but obviously did get sacked. But in the time that he was there, he did lead a good team with a few U.S. men's national team players.
Yes, he did a really good job, in my opinion, considering the players that he had and the circumstances that happened there when he was on the boat going in a way because and there were a lot of injuries uh, that were an important part in losing and being 8 games without winning because you were without Rodrigo for a couple of games. But well, that's another topic.
yeah. That'll be for another day for sure. But okay, we are gonna wrap that session up because I mean, we could talk for hours.
I was gonna say,
Yes.
But
I was gonna ask another question, but
go. I mean, ask last question. Last question.
last question for Facundo. Um, for, obviously, watching soccer is completely different. Atmosphere is different from South America, from River, Boca, from all those teams, even Atletico Nacional, where um, Nelson is coming from.
Yes. Yes.
What is it that watching the atmosphere in MLS makes it not as exciting, like the fan atmosphere?
Well, I must admit that I don't watch a lot of South American football. I must admit it because
Wow.
I can't tolerate this the football from my country. To see a Boca River for me, I prefer to go and play, and I'm a good player, not that good, but I even consider myself better defender than Aaron Long. So that's not that's
That's
not
not saying
really
much,
difficult.
but
Yeah. Um, but the fans here in Argentina are really intense. Really.
Yeah.
Well, when we won the World Cup, 6 million people we have in Obelisco. I was there. I even have one tattoo from the World Cup.
there
But
we
well,
go.
There we go. I like it. I like it.
yeah, that is something that is a social factor.
Yeah.
And in the United States, you are more civilized than us.
Yeah. Like
Uh, well,
we
than
saw
us, than Brazilian, than all South America. So
yeah, we saw the other day of Atletico Nacional, where the team that Nelson's coming from, all of them were going crazy prior and to and after the game. I don't think we're ever going to get to that level that we see in South America here in the US for fans at all.
well, I'm happy with that because considering the structures that all the stadiums have and the kind of football, the type of football that
Mhm.
you are trying to play, and it's better. You don't have to be worried about uh, possible incidents with the fans
That's
and
true.
all that. That is something else. Is not important on this sport. We have to be happy that can see Lionel Messi play. We
Yeah.
don't be we don't need to be worried about what is happening in the stands.
We saw how big of a impact the fans were a couple weeks ago in USA Mexico of them just throwing stuff on the field, and that
Exactly.
yeah,
That's a really good example.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I, for one, I love being intense. I'm the intense fan in my family.
he definitely is.
I'm the one that's yelling at the TV. I'm the one that's, I'm like a local pasman.
Well, there are matches that I'm like a loco passman too, but I try to not be because, well, my fiance look at me like you are completely crazy. They don't hear you. They don't care what you think. So I don't understand what are you doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Let
those
me
that
live. Let me be.
yeah, let me be. For those that understand, I'll pause the video somewhere in here and I'll put a little clip of who that person is. But
¡No! 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 ¡Estamos en la B! ¡Estamos en la B!
we get pretty intense for our certain teams. Let's be honest.
just a little bit.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's segue into.
Sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask you one question to both of us. How do
Late
you
on
live
us.
the Russell Lake matches? Like El Tano Passman or more like uh, a normal
I, I-
fan?
I'll start off prior to us doing this podcast and me being with Real Salt Lake and covering. I was like that. I would say I'm very passionate, very crazy, and all that. But now that I'm doing this, I feel like I'm more level. Not as crazy. Of course, I'm still passionate. I want the team to do well, but still medium.
You,
Okay.
Ellen?
So let me give you a timeline. So in 2008, when Real Salt Lake they started with their new stadium,
Hmm.
we played a play. Was it a playoff game, Marcos, against Chivas?
It was, yeah.
It was so first round of the playoffs in 2008. We beat Chivas in like in extra time, and
Hmm.
me and Marcos were up on the second. If you see up there the second row or second story
The
of the stadium,
upper deck.
upper deck, we were
Hmm.
next to the Chivas fans. And
Hmm.
so when we scored, I was yelling, screaming at the Chivas fans, and I was ripping down their signs because I was just telling them everything. So I can get crazy.
he can.
But
How old were you when that happened?
I was 18.
2000. Yeah, you're
Well,
18.
that's allowed. That's
Yeah,
allowed.
that's a lot. So when I got back from living in Argentina, I ended up being a referee, and that's when I became very neutral in how I watch soccer games. So I'm a huge fan of whatever, like River, Real Salt Lake. I'm a huge fan, and I will yell and scream. But what I can do is I can understand what's happening on the field in terms of referee decisions tactically. I don't get upset as fast. Um, I won't get upset at referee calls ever. In fact, I'll be defending referees who call things against us. That's just my
Well,
personality now.
the penalty kick that they
Ooh,
against Minnesota.
Oh,
let's
oh,
talk about this. Let's t-
yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna get into that right now.
no, let's get into it now. Let's do it.
So huge match Saturday. Where should we start?
Let's just start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. Well, our lineup for starters was absolutely atrocious. So we have Anderson.
Now.
Well, it was kind of questionable. We have Saba returns, but we have Ojeda starting after international break, but Julio starting up top.
Then you also have Gomez and you have
Yeah.
Chang
Yeah.
on the wings.
Yeah.
So there and there's a different defensive lineup as well.
Mhm.
You had Oviedo coming in for Brody, you had Silva coming for Vera, and then you had Bodie, Davis, Hidalgo, whatever you want to call him. He came in for Anelli.
Yeah.
Okay. The beginning of this match, the first half, if I were to give RSL a rating from 1 to 10, it was a 4. It was not good.
That's very generous, honestly.
Yes, we are being really
I
generous.
mean, remember when I said I was neutral? I'm pretty neutral. It was a 4.
Yes,
I was gonna go at least a 2.
It was
yes,
not
I'm
good.
with Marcos on that one because the first half wasn't good at all.
So
go ahead.
let's go with that starting about the first goal for Minnesota. So yeah, it was
That's all you have to say is yeah.
it was just bad
During
defending.
Yes, I wanted to say that. Even I take notes. I took notes for the first and second goal. You were having number superiority 7 plus the keeper to 5, and you weren't able to control that son, who ended up scoring after a shot deflected. So that's
Yeah.
something that they need to improve.
Yeah, and some would even say that goal came as a result of the no penalty. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
The no penalty. So, Tori Penso calls a penalty because the defender had hands on Bodie Hidalgo and ended up what appears to be a push from the hips and pushed him. Okay, she calls a penalty. VAR calls and says clear and obvious error. Now, later we find out the clear and obvious error, according to VAR, was that it was no foul whatsoever.
Yeah.
Facu, what are your thoughts on VAR calling the referee over?
I agree with the VAR in this case because, in my opinion, there were no penalty. Even when Taylor was the one who were holding Hidalgo, he starts in the beginning of the play, tries to hold it. He lost the position against the Wrestle Lake player, but he stops the contact when Hidalgo cross the line. So there is no movement, there is no push, there is no intention. But intention there is of moving him, but the force that he used is not necessary to make that fall.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm explaining good what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
Yeah. No, you explained it. Marcos, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Facundo. It was there was contact, yes, but not enough to point to the spot for a penalty. And plus, the contact was outside the box. So, thus being said, Torrey Penso couldn't go back and give a free kick because isn't am I correct? Is that against the
Right.
law for
She
VAR?
she wouldn't be able to go back and call a free kick even if it was if the clear and obvious error was the foul was outside the area. I think that's where she could have called the foul outside the area.
No.
No.
What happened is there is two types of fouls. Ones that are immediately, for example, a cut, and the others that are they have a continuum, they
Mhm.
have a process.
Mm.
The ones who have a process, like this situation, the point of reanudation of the game is where it ends. If I'm having the player, I'm holding the player, when I left the player, that's where the foul should be renewed the game.
Yeah. Okay.
And
That makes sense. That makes sense.
so
So
it
Yeah.
would be penalty in the
Yeah.
case that the force deserves to be called a penalty kick.
right, and
Okay.
that's why she called the penalty kick, but VAR says no penalty because there was no foul, which
Exactly.
I agree with that as well. Because if we and I tweeted this out, and if you guys haven't seen it, take a look at my page. Vera had a similar foul the
Mhm.
week before against DC United, where he comes behind the person running with the ball, kind of puts his arm around him, and then lets go.
Yeah.
So contact was made. Enough for a foul? No. These are things that defenders do in order to cause something else to happen. Not a foul, but cause the player with the ball to lose it, to get messed up.
Yeah, but if we were to look at both of the fouls, one from the Bodie and the one from Vera, the one from Vera is obviously way more contact than that one should have been a penalty.
I would even say it's the same amount of contact, to be honest, because if you run it in real time, it
He-
literally
he,
is.
he had his arm around him.
It literally was a duk, and he pulled it out. He did not
But
even grab
that
him.
that movement to put your arm across the chest of the player can be understood as an intention of cutting the game.
Yeah.
Can generate that that fall from the attacker, and this situation doesn't allow to think that. So
Yeah.
even
So
where similar plays, they are different kind of contact.
yeah. So
But I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet.
I know you did. I know you did. I don't know how
So-
many people did.
So unfortunately, comes back, no penalty, and RSL just moves on. And
Well, not only do they move on, but it's not like they move on and say whatever.
Yeah.
Literally minutes after that is when Minnesota scores their first goal.
yeah. Well,
And so
so
that-
going back to that goal that I
Yeah, and that killed us. So, and if we're looking at first half stats,
Mhm.
first off, the expected goals, the XG,
Mhm.
Minnesota was at a 2, which obviously they had 2 goals. We
Yeah.
are at a 0.25. We had 5 total shots on goal, but we had 70% of the possession.
The whole entire game, we were destroying them on possession, but it's over and over, game after game, we just can't find chances. Can't
Now,
finish them.
possession doesn't always lead to goals, but it
Yeah.
leads sometimes to being exposed, which was what happened on our second goal.
Mhm.
Facu, what did you see on Minnesota's second goal?
Well, first of all, we need to see and talk about Oviedo's position on that goal, because as you said a minute ago, they got exposed by trying to control the ball, and they lose the midfield. So when Minnesota recovered, Oviedo left the left side in order to follow Hooligan. Yes,
Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was him.
Mhm.
I don't know how to pronounce it in English because
Neither
it's a
do we.
really difficult name. It's a really difficult name, but well, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
So when they did that movement, left all the right side from Minnesota alone. That was rowed by Bebelo Reynoso, who did the diagonal with Holligan, who crossed from right to center. They did this movement.
Mhm.
Oviedo didn't return to his position, and that's why Bebelo got alone.
Because if you look at it, when Oviedo went into the middle to cover, which I think it was an exaggeration on his part. We had I think it was Ojeda was still in there, or Ruiz was still in there.
Mhm.
It was an
Ojeda
exaggerate.
Ruiz was a little bit more to the
That's what
back,
it was. It was
to the
one of
right.
those. Um, Oviedo went out too far, left that gap, and Marcelo Silva knew he had a large area to cover, but there was also someone else. I think it was Garcia or Jung was running into the area as well, and so he had to go cover more towards the middle, which left Reynoso open on the backside. No one went back to cover. If someone were to cover, it would have been, I think you see in the last frame, Ruiz coming in
Yes.
late.
And we talked about this kind of last episode when we were previewing this matches, because this was Reynoso's third match back with Minnesota, to keep an eye on
The first
Reynoso.
one as a starter.
Yeah, first one as a starter, because we've seen what he's done when RSL and Minnesota played against each other. He's always been scoring. Do you think if Oviedo wasn't starting on that left back, if it was, let's say, Vera or even Brody, that it would have been a little bit different? That he would have been able to, we would have been able to stop that?
I don't think that, because what Oviedo did is a natural movement in my case, for example, as a defender, considering that I saw the mid of the pitch alone. I need to cut and recover the ball as a shorter time as I can, because Minnesota has really good attackers. So if I let them play, if I allow them to uh, stop the ball and watch what they can do, they are really dangerous, truly dangerous.
Yeah.
So that's what happened in the first half. Two shots, two shots, two goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate because with all that possession, it almost felt like Barcelona playing against Rayo Vallecano. It was like that much possession we're talking, but it led to nothing because the possession never led to anything really.
And we've seen it happen several times already this season at home, going down early 2 goals. And I, for one, I thought it was just going to be deja vu of when we played St. Louis, losing 4-0, of us just losing that confidence. But going into the locker room down 2-0, it just seemed like there was just a switch. Something switched for RSL's mentality, knowing, hey, we need to at least get a point at home. And about 2 minutes into the second half, we see a shot that from Pablo Ruiz about 20 yards out that makes into the back of the net. But once again, we
But wait, we got to
yeah,
talk about some changes before that shot. There were two substitutions that were made by Real Salt Lake.
you're right, you're right. We saw. I'm going back to it.
You had Savarino going in for Chang and
Mhm.
Musovsky for
Or
Gomez.
Gomez, that's right.
Now, what did Chang and Gomez not bring that Sava and Musovsky bring? What were the differences?
I would say for one is probably the intensity.
Facu, did
I
you notice any
would.
difference?
Yes, and I noticed that with Saba, they have Pablo Ruiz in this case. That's a player that I really admire. It's
Mhm.
from the Argentinians in the league right now. We have Lucho Acosta, Thiago Almada, Julián Carranza, who are in a good present, in a good moment. Pablo Ruiz is a little bit underrated, I will say. And Chile can have a good player there for this new team because he can represent La Roja. So Saba and Ruiz got some connections, and Wrestle Lake in general won with Diego Luna in attack. A game changer player.
Yeah, and I think
Uh,
that's where RSL starts improving, was just with those two substitutions. To be honest, I think because of the way that they can attack, because with bringing in Musovski and taking out Gomez, that means they could bring back Luna and put
yes,
Musovski up top,
Yeah.
because Luna was playing supposedly one of the
He was playing
forward.
one of the striker positions
yes, because
because you and I were talking about that during the game, how we were both confused as to why Luna's playing a striker when he should be playing the left wing, because in the first half that was kind of being the huge difference maker.
Yeah, Luna's strength is on the wing. It is
Yeah.
not as a striker.
Yeah, exactly.
I understood what they tried to do with Luna playing as a striker, but they should be with another striker, more like Chicho Arango, that
Yeah.
will be playing with you in a couple of days. Uh, because if you have a striker, a natural striker, and allow Luna to move, to go and recovery, to fall in the band, and having the ball, more freedom, that position can be really, really useful for you because you have Saba and Gomez on the wings and Luna playing as a natural 10 behind Chicharango or even Musovski that showed that can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Like once we do have Chicho and then our full healthy squad, even with Nelson Palacio, that will change our whole attack, because who knows if Pablo's going to still go with that 4-2-3-1 that he's accustomed to doing, or that 4-4-2 that he's been playing right now.
I will say this though. I think Sava and Luna are interchangeable.
Exactly.
They're both tens. You can put
Exactly.
them in the middle or on the left wing, and they will do good for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Okay, so let's go back to that the almost Pablo Ruiz goal.
Almost. So he drills it in about 20 yards out, top of the box. But of course, just like the first half for the penalty kick, they have to go to VAR. But this time it's for offside and as well as obstruction. Um, Facundo, your thoughts on that VAR?
In difference to the one on the penalty kick, I have my doubts in that one because I understand that as a keeper and with the speed of that ball, because Pablo Ruiz smashed the ball, it was an amazing, a beautiful goal, a beautiful
Yeah.
shot. It's a shame that it doesn't count because it was his 100 match with in MLS.
Yeah.
So it would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
That, but I get the call. I should have not called it.
Okay.
That's
I mean, I can see why it was called as well. I hate to see it called because shoot, the ball. I mean, I'm thinking as a fan, the ball was going away from Julio, so he wasn't even in the direct line of the shot, but he was in the direct line of vision for the goalkeeper.
and Julio was between two Minnesota players. So that is another factor that could be a key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You,
it
you, you hate
sucks.
you hate to see it when it's against your own team, but he was in the line of sight of the keeper, which kind of affected the way. So no goal for us. But
But let's talk about that Musovski goal. Okay,
yeah,
so we have RSL gaining momentum. So in about the 60th minute is when RSL does not relinquish the or anything. They keep the ball for a good 10 minutes by themselves.
Yeah.
And with that, because Musovski comes in, he's already understanding the game. He understands the runs that are needed. Pablo Ruiz, what a pass.
He doesn't get enough credit
Outstanding.
for
Outstanding.
how well he is with the ball. The man has he's good.
He has improved. At the beginning of the season, he was shaky.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But once RSL started finding form, Pablo Ruiz has been the core, has been very important. But that pass to put it over the top and literally almost at the foot of Musovski while he was running. Mamita querida.
But prior to Musovski scoring that goal, if you want to just rewind, Musovski had kind of something similar, but obviously not the same pass, but had a shot, kind of went with the keeper, but drilled it right over the goal. So I think he that kind of miss he was like, I need to regain myself. I need to do that one more time.
He was gauging. He was
He was
gauging
gauging.
where the he was trying to find where the goal was. But besides the Ruiz pass and Musovski's run and score, during that whole half, we had a lot of good possession, a lot of good. In fact, let me throw this stat at you. In the second half, RSL had a total of 22 shots.
I feel like that's been the normal these past few
We had
matches.
5 in the first half. So what changed?
It's those substitutions that you mentioned, bringing in a Musovski and bringing in a Sava.
Facu?
And as you say a couple of minutes ago, the intensity that those two substitutions bring to the
Yeah.
team. In the first goal, before the Ruiz pass, the pressure that they do against, I don't know which Minnesota player was, but they were 3 Brazil Lake players trying to recover the ball. They recovered fast, gave the ball to Ruiz. Ruiz did that magical pass, and that pressure not directly but leads to the team having a lot of shots. And it's not the first match that you did that, because you are the team in the entire MLS with more shots. I
Right.
saw that statistic a couple 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
240.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it, like 245?
Something
Yes.
like that, yeah.
20 more for than the second team.
That's crazy.
The stats is by PFF, in case you wanna
Yeah.
look at that. But
Yeah, and going off of that point that Facundo made, after post game, talking to Pablo Mastroni, I asked him, what was it being down 2-0 at halftime? What was it that gave you guys the intensity and helped you guys get back? He's like, we realized we were playing very flat. We didn't come out with the right formation, right players, and that's what changed in the end.
yes, it's what we are saying, we are saying right now. So
Yeah.
we can be part of the technical staff.
I mean, we basically are. I mean, and so because of all this that's happening, because of the pressure that's being applied, now we're down to only 2-1. Again with
and we've
correct-
said this before, 2-0, most dangerous lead in soccer.
yes. So, and if I'm not mistaken, so we have a wonderful pass. Who made the wonderful pass for our last goal? It was it Bodie? No, not Bodie.
Are you talking about that was Ojeda to Luna.
Ojeda to Luna. Ojeda just drills across all the way to the other side of the box.
Mind you,
from midfield.
Mind you, it's 9 minutes of stoppage time.
We're in the 7th minute of stoppage time. We're just going to talk about this play because first off, Luna had a great game. In fact, I think he was man of the match.
87% of pass accuracy. 87.
You need that. That's great accuracy.
That's a good stat to have.
Ojeda launches a ball that some at Luna's age would not be able to control it very well. The fact that he was able to touch it once and put it into the middle, it wasn't the prettiest, but he was able to control it enough to where it got in the area, in the middle.
And then
Um,
the fact that a freaking center back can do a volley just like a striker, that is unimaginable. Something that you couldn't picture.
But we must talk about I don't know, it was in the 84 minute, if I'm not wrong. He had a header who almost was the equalizer too. So
You're right.
yeah,
Brody is
yeah, he's good. Glad is a
yeah.
good center back, and he's been really good on set pieces. He really
Yeah.
has.
So
But
that's why with him doing that volley like that, it caught people off guard, because when he did that, I was like, that's not glad, because we're used to just him rising up and heading that ball in.
I wonder how many times he does that he actually scores. Because
Of the volley.
yeah,
1 in 50.
Yeah, it was like
he,
1 in 50.
he needed to hit that perfectly.
And this was a perfect time to do, because his grandparents, his parent, and his whole family came out from Florida for this match, for his 200th appearance.
That's true. That's true.
The
I want to.
first home run in Wrestle Lake history to
Yeah.
reach the 200 milestone.
And also, this
in
was the
MLS.
latest RSL goal in club history.
I saw that statistic too. It's
That's
really
crazy.
impressive.
I
Yes,
want to
it
talk
is.
about one more play. So if you haven't watched the game, it ended at 2-2. But we're gonna go back to one play. There was one play that instant replay. If you guys watch on Apple TV, instant replay said that there was one dog so red card that Real Salt Lake should have had.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in around the 86th minute ish, where Ojeda was running behind a defender. He goes in and slides. He tries to get the ball from behind, but if you slow down the camera and there's a camera angle from behind, he actually grabs the legs. He kicks the legs of the player running towards goal, and doesn't get the ball. The VAR didn't catch it, and the referee didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Instant replay says that their opinion, obviously, says that Ojeda should have had a red card right there. Do you guys have any thoughts?
I don't remember that play. Let me check, because I don't remember that.
I rewatched instant replay earlier today, and I'm just like Facundo. I don't remember that in the moment, but rewatching instant replay, I think that they should have gone to the monitor for VAR just to get a look, because there's things in the match that Tori Penso, she's not perfect. She probably missed that, just to get a better angle, better view of that.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Just watch it, and then maybe we can discuss it later. But overall thoughts of the match. Facu, what are your overall thoughts of the match and Real Salt Lake and their future?
Well, first of all, a good future is coming, because next week you face Toronto, who has just fired Bob Bradley. That's good for Toronto too, because Bob Bradley was a mess. But well, and you are going to Canada. That's good, because you have just won 3 consecutive matches away and are the best team in condition of visitor. So that's good. And my thoughts on this particular game, if I must speak, I will just talk about the second half, because with Saba is the real team. If you don't have Saba, that's not Red Salt Lake.
Yeah.
I'm really confident that with Palacio and Chicho Arango, you will have one of the best attacks on the league. And the only problem that you have is that you don't have really good rotation for those players.
Right.
There
Rotation is
is
hard.
Musovski, there is Krejlach, but
Yeah, there's Rubin, but he's on Gold Cup duty, so
yes, I mean in the near future because
yeah.
Okay,
okay.
Marcos, your overall thoughts of the game?
Yeah, same as Facu. First half, we're not a very good first half team. We've seen that over and over. Teams scoring early, 1-2 goals on us, and then we just get deflated. But very impressed second half with us, with the subs that we brought in. Completely different dynamic, completely different team. Wish we played our second half like we did the whole entire game, but glad we got 1 point instead of 0 points.
I see what you did there. Glad we got 1 point. I see what you did there.
That was clever. That was clever.
That was clever. That was clever. We're gonna clip that one. Yeah, I agree. Second half, I mean, obviously, this was a game of two halves, and the second half was obviously better. We hope that we see more of second half Real Salt Lake and not first half. But that also depends on the lineup that shows up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and of course, the problem with the first half is that you play against Minnesota that is not in a good present. If you show those weakness and that defensive disorder against another team, I don't know if I would say Atlanta because if there is not Thiago Almada and Thiago Magis,
Yeah.
they are not really dangerous. But well, and Wiley's, I admire him. But against an LAFC, or well, you beat
St. Louis.
St. Louis
Mhm.
the last match with Pac.
Yeah.
They have a really good attack. If you
Yeah.
show those weakness against another opponent, the first half, instead of a 2-0, could have been a 4 or even 5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Someone who
Exactly.
actually knew how to control the game. Yeah, we would have been
Yes.
in much deeper trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that once we get our players that we'll be getting, that they'll turn this into a fortress, and that'll be tough for teams to win there. So
Let's just hope. Let's just hope. So, Facundo, we normally finish on a prediction time, but we're not even. We're gonna save you from all the dancing and singing of.
we don't want to
prediction.
embarrass you. No, we're not going to embarrass you today.
Don't do that to me. I'm a big fan of your dancing. Yes.
Well,
I see it every weekend. You do like Divo.
we'll have to
No,
invite you another time when we talk about the next game. But for now,
well,
we'll let you keep practicing at home.
but Facundo, thank you so much for hopping on and joining us this evening.
no, thanks
Give
you.
it. Give us
Thanks
your.
you for inviting me.
Give us your social media.
Well, at the moment I'm using Twitter, Facu-bajo. Well, I don't know how to say it.
Underscore.
Underscore.
Underscore. Well, Facu_OF because of my initials. But I think that in the near future I will use TikTok and maybe Instagram.
Perfect. And just to give, if no one else caught it, what are you studying to be, and so we can look for you in the future?
Well, I'm studying for being a coach, a head coach. I am with a professional license of Comebol and AFA and AFTA, who are
Very nice.
Yes, the one who will allow me to be head coach from Russell Lake in some moment.
Well, if not Real Salt Lake, we're definitely going to start the Facundo Neta.
Yes,
We
that would be nice.
We will keep an eye out you for any head coaching if you ever do become one.
Yeah, for sure. And Marcos, give our social media real quick.
Yeah, if you guys are not following already on Instagram and Twitter, it is at the RSL Bros. And if you're already watching this episode, hit the subscribe button as well.
Perfect. Well, guys, it was nice talking to you guys. Peace out.
Until next time.
Ciao, ciao.
Until next time.